Welcome to Module 5. In this module, Myers discusses the theory of learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is a response to the perception of repeated failure, the feeling that we have no control over the outcome of our behavior. One way to understand the importance of control is to examine how we respond when we feel out of control. We might feel a loss of control from uncertainty, from loss of freedom, or the inability to produce the outcomes that we desire. I'd like to tell you a story today about a colleague of mine who had recently married. She was sitting on the couch one evening with her new husband when she became overcome with emotions and she poured out her feelings of love for him. After she finished, she sat back and she anticipated a response from him. He stood up, walked into the kitchen without saying a word. Now, naturally, the fact that he didn't return her heartfelt expression of love bothered her, but she reported that what disturbed her the most was the uncertainty of why he had ignored her comments. It wasn't like him at all. It wasn't until she saw what he was doing in the kitchen that she understood why he hadn't responded. Up until that point, the uncertainty of not knowing the reason for his behavior was very unsettling to her. And then, when she noticed what her husband was doing in the kitchen, the considerable discomfort that she felt subsided. Uncertainty. Is anyone wondering what he was doing in the kitchen? I'll tell you next week. What? You really want to know about this trivial piece of information that has nothing at all to do with your life? Is the uncertainty bothering you? All right, I'll tell you. It turned out that my colleague noticed that her husband was dancing in the kitchen. And then she noticed that there were wires hanging down from his ears. Her husband had his headphones on the entire time that she was giving him her heartfelt confession of love, and he hadn't heard a word that she had said. The uncertainty is removed for her and for you, and control is restored. Now, how did you feel before I told you what her husband was doing in the kitchen? Did you feel a sense of uncertainty? Did you feel some discomfort? It's similar to the feelings that we have when we experience a loss of freedom or a loss of choice. And one of the more interesting responses in these situations is reactance. We become motivationally aroused. Think about how consumers respond when there's a loss of freedom or a loss of choice. Have you ever been shopping on Black Friday? Or have you ever looked for a particular item, a jacket, for example, and you initially find one, but it's not particularly desirable? So you continue looking, you scour many other stores, and you have no success finding a suitable jacket. So you go back to the first store, and to your horror, you find that that first jacket is no longer there. Your jacket. You love that jacket. You might now go on a prolonged search of many other stores to find that jacket, to find another copy of that first jacket. So we respond to the loss of control by finding the lost choice and thinking that it's even more desirable than it was to begin with. Think about your reaction the next time you feel uncertainty, or you feel a loss of control, or even a loss of freedom.